All right, welcome everyone to our CRM training today. Some of you guys are like, I have no idea what a CRM is. And I'm like, yeah, cool, don't worry about it. We got you. So a couple things. Number one, put yourselves on mute. Everybody on mute. If you don't want to show your face, that's okay. Don't show your face. We're not too concerned about that. So the way this is going to flow is very simple. You guys are going to listen and watch Justin as he kind of talks about a CRM, what the purpose of a CRM is, the importance of it, the different components of it. And then he's going to walk through Contractor Plus, which is our preferred partner when it comes to a CRM. And during this, if you have any questions, I'm just going to have you drop them in the chat. So any specific questions of either how Contractor Plus works or any specific questions about a CRM, drop them in the chat and I will periodically ask Justin these questions. We want to keep this as smooth as possible. So that's going to be the easiest for us. So again, if you're joining, mute yourselves. Probably best just turn your camera off as well, especially if you're traveling around. It kind of sucks up the bandwidth. And like I said, we will have Justin go through explaining all these different things. And then we will make sure that that we answer all your stuff. So cool. Tyler, you're the last one left with your camera on. Don't worry, we're not looking at you. Let me see here. Stop video. Boom, I got you, bro. I got you. Cool. So again, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat or save them for the end. But we will get rolling. So today I'd like to welcome Justin Smith to the network. Justin Smith is the founder and CEO of Contractor Plus. Contractor Plus is a CRM, a client relationship manager or customer relationship manager program that helps take a lot of the headache out of running a contracting business. Don't believe me? Wait till he's done and you will be blown away. Here's the issue that most contractors have. When they start off in business, they're really good at swinging a hammer, working a trowel, punching a drill through a wall, whatever it is. They're good at doing that kind of stuff. But what they're not good at is running a contracting business. And so that starts to become the issue or the roadblock that's keeping them from having the success that they want to have. So CRMs were created as a way to leverage technology to help make running your business easier so that your invoices, your leads, your sales, your follow-up, your estimates don't fall through the cracks, right? Now, he has a very unique story as to why and how he started Contractor Plus, and I'll be kind of asking him a few of those questions. And then after that, we're going to transition over to him actually showing you behind the scenes how Contractor Plus works. I use it. I have quite a few clients that use it, and I highly, highly recommend that you use it as well. Once we're done with this, you'll see why it is that, one, you need a CRM, and number two, that you need Contractor Plus. So without further ado, here's Justin. You'll see him on the screen with me.
What's going on, everybody?
So, Justin, real quick, give us the Reader's Digest version of why did you start Contractor Plus?
So I grew up with a mother who's a general contractor in Central Ohio. I grew up working in the summers with her. She specialized in Victorian home remodeling. They would actually relocate and restore Victorian homes, so all that old slat and plaster and lead paint, and had a lot of fun. And then after college, I moved to Orlando to go to business school. After college, I actually started a real estate business. We started a brokerage and property management company. And initially we were subbing out all the turns. We grew to like 20, 30 properties under management in the first 6 months. And then we started accelerating really fast. 3 years later, we had 800 doors under management. And we decided to bring all that maintenance. We looked at how much money we were spending on the unit turns and the maintenance. And we said, holy cow. So we brought it all in-house. And that ended up being the most profitable division of our business. The property management division alone did about $1.5 million. The property maintenance did over $3 million. So just to show you how much money is in contracting, and that's still super small scale. You get into building and stuff, the revenue potential is just unbelievable. I have a friend that's building 100 homes a year, and he's trying to get to 500. And it's kind of funny because the only thing different between the guy who's building 2 or 3 a year and the guy who's building 500 is getting the right systems and the right processes in place. And that's what I really like about what ACN does is, it really helps you get in the right mindset and in the right, get you positioned to scale, without, sacrificing your work-life balance. And it goes hand in hand with what we're doing here at Contractor Plus. So we built this initially as an internal tool for our property management, our maintenance division. We called it Reed Handyman. We had about 30 guys working for us, and we just built it as a way to eliminate double data entry. I had a foreman going out doing estimates on paper. He'd bring them back to the office. Our bookkeeper would type them up in QuickBooks, take the photos off a digital camera and SD cards, zip them up and email them to the investor, and they would approve it. Well, all that double work took hours and hours and just wasted efficiency. So I said, man, there's got to be a better way. So we built an internal tool we called Handyman Estimator. We never sold it. Well, then as years progressed, I realized, man, there's all these other CRMs for contractors are missing the mark. And there's just a lot of room to disrupt and innovate. And we had to start somewhere. I mean, a lot of people in software, they say to be successful, you have to solve one problem really well and integrate with everyone else. Well, usually that's true, but in this case, I would say we're not so much just a CRM. We're more so, I would say, like an operating system for contractors. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into the solution.
So real quick, I just want these guys to kind of understand, what's happening here, right? So basically, what Justin did is he encountered a problem, right? Being a user, encountered a problem and then said, hey, I think I can find a better solution for it, right? So really what a CRM does, and yes, you'll see that Contractor Plus is more than just a CRM, but really what a CRM does is, again, it helps you organize your information, your data, your projects, your jobs, so on and so forth, which helps you make you more efficient. If you're more efficient, you're going to make more money, period. Okay. I want you guys to understand that. But what we're going to have Justin do now is kind of walk through Contractor Plus itself, right? How does it work? And really, how is it that it's going to benefit you and your business? So I want you guys to think as he's walking through this in terms of your own business, right? So I am a painter, I'm a remodeler, I'm a mason, I'm a concrete guy, whatever it is that you are and whatever it is that you do, look at it through the lens of your business. Because again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll be answering them kind of as they come up. So again, without further ado, Justin, I'll let you share your screen and get after it.
All right, everybody should be able to see it now. And just so you know, this is being recorded, so you can always go back and watch if I go a little too fast. I am going to do a brief overview because it would take me all day to go through all the individual features. But basically, the whole concept behind Contractor Plus is one centralized system where you can streamline your entire operation. So not just your client relationships, but also we're getting to the point where your internal relationships with your team, and then next we're adding subcontractor relationships and compliance and your vendor relationships. Everything that you do as a contractor needs systemized in one place in a way that fits your workflow and doesn't really force you to change the way you operate naturally to fit its workflow, which is traditionally what software has done. Everything's typically centered around a schedule. Our schedule syncs. We have bi-directional sync with all 5 leading calendars. So everyone on your team can have their events from Contractor Plus sync to their local native device. To do that, you would go to calendar settings, connect your calendar, log into your preferred calendar, and once it's linked, you're good to go. You can also color code certain events. So whether you want to do that by someone's name of who it's assigned to, or whether you want to color code, say, estimates, if it includes something specific in the title, or maybe it's kitchen remodel or bath remodel. If you do different types of work, you can color code that way.
So let me pause real quick, make sure these guys understand. When you mean bi-directional, what do you mean bi-directional?
I mean that it syncs both ways. That if you add an event to your phone using your Google Calendar or your iCal, it will as long as it's synced with Contractor Plus, that event will show up on your Contractor Plus schedule.
There you go.
So you know that you're not available during that time.
Yeah.
If you add an event on your Contractor Plus schedule, it will sync to your phone's device as well. So not only, and we also have the calendar in our mobile app as well, but it is a daily resource view. There's not a whole lot of real estate on a phone screen. So we try to make the best possible use of that space.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Real quick, this is what I want you guys to just get from the calendar. Number one, if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, or a Google phone, Samsung, whatever, you can sync your calendar on your phone to the app, which means appointments that you put in the app show up on your phone, and appointments that you have on your phone show up in the app, period.
That's right.
That's an amazing thing. All right, go ahead.
So you can click anywhere on this schedule where you want to schedule an event. And there's different types of events that you can schedule. Now, if you add something to your phone, your normal calendar is just going to be a normal event. But if, say, you want to schedule an estimate or a bid, then you could click this. You could select your client. You could select the service address, or you can add a new service address on the fly. You start typing, you click it, it automatically pre-fills everything in. If there's a gate code or lockbox code, you can type that in. If there's tenant information that you need to add, you can type that in. You hit save, and you're good to go. So our calendar on the web is fully drag and drop. Now, you can also add unscheduled events, which would show over here on the right-hand side. So say you have a work order or a job or something that you know is coming up, but you don't know where it fits in on the schedule yet. You can say, I'll schedule it later, and I'll actually show you how to do that. I go to add a job. You can give the job a title. You can add a job from an estimate or an invoice if you've already sent an estimate or invoice, or if you haven't, just say that you haven't. And you can just add select the client and add a service address. Then you can just check schedule later. Now notice this feature right here, request completion signature. This is what's known as a COC, or certificate of completion. After your job has been marked as completed, if you require a COC to be signed by your client, you can enable this. We will automatically send your client an invite to mark the job, to sign off on the job saying it was completed satisfactorily. In addition to that, we can also invite your client to leave you reviews on Google My Business, Yelp, and Facebook. And I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. You can assign team members to a job. There's different types of, if you're going to schedule it, there's different types of ways to go about it. So there's different types of jobs. For some companies like HVAC companies, lawn care companies, pest control, they'll sell people on an annual contract and they'll pre-plan the visits. So you can do that with recurring visits. So you just set your start date and you would say it repeats every however often. So we give you all the flexibility you need to pre-plan, a service agreement or a contract. Or you may it may be a remodel job. You may just want to look over here to the right and see what you've already got on the schedule. So there's nothing conflicting, and go ahead and plot the job where you know you have the availability.
Cool. So let's go on to the next portion of this. So they got the calendar figured out. What about when you are, I think, at the front end of an opportunity, right? So they come across a lead. How do leads work inside of
So basically there's a few different integrations that we have. Currently, we integrate directly with Thumbtack, and we also have a full RESTful API. Now, what that means, in layman's terms, application programming interface, it means that if you have a website or a form on your website and you would like that form to submit the data into Contractor Plus, so you get a notification anytime someone fills it out, that can be set up. So we have a full leads dashboard here, and you can customize this dashboard view, the columns, how you want it to look. And we also have a notification, a reminder tool. So say you contact a lead and they're not ready. They want you to call them back in 3 days. You can choose how you want to be reminded, when you want to be reminded, and you can take notes here for that reminder. You can also track your conversations. So if you call this person and you have a conversation with them, you can track the result or the outcome of that conversation. You can schedule tasks, reminders, and notes related to this lead as well. Now, if you schedule an estimate and you send it to this lead, that event will automatically convert this lead to a client. Otherwise, you can just manually convert it to a client by clicking on the Convert to Client button. Once you've done that, it goes into the Client Relationship Manager. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's why. There we go. I had Linda typed in.
Linda.
So this is a view of all of your clients. This is one area that we are working on right now, and I'm going to give you a little glimpse of what's to come. But basically, all of your clients are here. You can search, you can filter. You can change the column view here based on custom fields. Let's say I click on Eric Davis here. Now, everything related to this client is accessible right here through this client's portal. All of their points of contact, their service addresses or properties, any work orders, their payment history, statements, contracts, and certificates of completion. We're adding lien waivers. You can generate a W-9 form in the click of a button right here. Literally anything and everything related to this client is right here. Now, I do want to show you something. So this space right here, the client details screen, is something that we're making a lot better use of. And this is what it's going to look like here in the next couple of months. Notice how it's an activity log with a time and date stamped of every event that happens on that client's account. And you can filter it down to specific types of activities. You can sort to see if you just want to see the interactions between one team member and this client, or a certain type of interaction like phone calls. And with this, you can add notes right here on the fly. You can send them emails, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let's see here. You can also say if they don't respond in 3 days or a week, enroll them in a sequence. So you can plan out your drip sequence, and so they'll automatically get emails. You don't have to write them manually. You can schedule it to send later. You can have email templates. So if there's certain, follow-up templates and nurturing templates at different stages of the client side or the customer cycle, you may want to save those so you don't have to write them every time. You can send and receive texts, and you can call from right inside of Contractor Plus. So this is where things are going. It's not where it's at today, but here in the next few months, you're going to notice that this actually applies to leads, clients, vendors, and subcontractors.
So let me pause real quick. First of all, if you guys have any questions about either inputting leads or anything that has to do with clients, drop them in the chat. Now's a really good time to do that. But I just want to kind of recap this. So as a contractor right now, how are you tracking your leads, right? The people who are interested in your products and or services that you haven't made a client yet, right? How are you tracking them? Not only how are you tracking them, but how are you following up with them? When are you following up with them, right? So you can see that there's a lot of problems that come up based off of one thing, and that is the ability to track and follow up with your leads. So this is what Contractor Plus does for you. Right now, most of you are doing this manually. Some of you guys are using some, I'll say, not optimal technology. So We had a question right now, maybe not a question, but more of a statement, and I'll turn it into a question. What would be the difference? Say they're tracking all of this stuff right now in Excel. What would be the benefit of using something like Contractor Plus?
Well, I mean, Excel, you're going to be able to track the data in a sheet, but when it comes to, converting that into an invoice or sending and receiving a payment or inviting your customer to feedback, it's really about connecting all of these different processes and gluing it all together in a way that's comprehensive and completes that loop full circle. So you're not having to do something over here and something over here and something over here, and you're not having to pick up the phone and call this person or send an email or it's all systemized and streamlined.
You're right. And so really what you're saying is, hey, you could have an Excel spreadsheet. You could have a mailing client like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or something like that. You could have a CRM like a Monday.com or Asana or something like that, where you're keeping track of all these things, a calendar. But the problem is they're all in 15 different places, right? And so what Contractor Plus does is it brings those all into one place, where not only are they in one place, but you don't have to repeat the information. You input it once and it's there.
That's right.
You can add to it, you can take away from it, you can schedule things with it, so on and so forth. So that's really one of the bigger benefits of using Contractor Plus. I know we haven't gotten to this portion yet, but the question came up. So let's just give a quick answer on this one. Is this also an accounting software?
Partially. We're not a full replacement for QuickBooks, but we integrate with QuickBooks. So, you're not going to set up your chart of accounts and you're not going to reconcile your books inside of Contractor Plus, at least now. But we do have a full QuickBooks integration, QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Desktop integration is on the roadmap for it should be here in the next couple of months in the second quarter. It is one of our priorities. So not full replacement for accounting software. Eventually, maybe. We do have some reports we have enough reports where you could use this solely and, get the information you need to file your taxes. But you're still going to want to properly set up your chart of accounts in an accounting software like QuickBooks.
Right.
At least I would want to.
Right. And so again, this is just allowing you to pool that data in one place. But as Justin said, I wouldn't use it to replace a QuickBooks or if you're using a bookkeeper and accountant, definitely want a professional to partner with. But this again allows you to pool all of your data and all your information.
So this is a new feature that we just shipped, the live map. It's in beta. Next, we're adding routing and dispatching. So you can see where all of your team members are out in the field. We're also adding active jobs, inactive jobs, upcoming jobs. You can plot all of a certain client's properties on the map so you can see where everything's at visually. And you could dispatch someone to a service address. You can start a chat with another team member or a group of team members that are assigned to a job site. We automatically create a group chat for every single job where there's more than one employee assigned to it. So if you schedule a job and assign more than one employee, you can go to chat with team and it'll open that team chat so everyone can stay on the same page. You can send voice notes, videos, pictures, documents. A lot of people use this to kind of keep track of their job progress, more so than just chat, but you can use it however you see best fit. The live map is definitely, we have a lot of huge improvements coming on the way with that. But also it's important when you start to grow your business and you have a lot of moving, people out in the field, you got 100 guys out in the field. It's important to know that when someone says they're clocking in at 123 Main Street, they're actually at 123 Main Street. And they're not halfway across town doing something they're not supposed to be doing. It gets harder to manage a business at scale if you don't have the right systems in place.
Right. And that brings up another point, by the way, for all of you guys and gals. It is a whole lot easier to implement something like this when you're smaller than when you're bigger. It's
Yes.
just the reality of the situation. So you can always add users to this, but the quicker you can get in and start using something like this, the better. Real quick, I know we'll get to this point here in a second, but there was another question that came through. Says, we run QB Pro Contractor. Does your program offer better job cost breakdowns?
Job cost breakdowns. So I'll show you what we do today. We don't do costing. So we're not gonna bid for you. We're not gonna tell you, currently at least, we're not gonna tell you how much something should, how much you should bid on something or how much materials you should use. You're gonna have to know how to bid. Now we are working on AI in the background. We're calling it Contractor's Assistant. So in the future, eventually something that would take a couple hours to prepare, like a nice itemized estimate, with a punch list, putting it all together, will be completely streamlined. You can do it in under a minute. But currently what we have, this is all improving as well in the very near future, but we have 3 different types of estimates. We've got an area and task itemized estimate, which lets you break things down by area or group, lets you take per line item photos, multiple photos per line item, and segments the labor costs and the material costs in the back end for your tracking purposes, but you still get full control over how you display that to your client. And I'll demonstrate that.
So
the standard
what you're saying, I know you're going to demonstrate it now, but basically what you're saying is cost tracking, not estimating, right?
Yeah. So you track your costs and you track what you charge your clients. So ultimately you can track your profitability. Okay. Because we have full attribution at the job level for everything from estimates to invoices to timesheets to mileage logs to expenses. So when you have all, and you know how much you're paying your employees. So before we jump into this, let me show you that first. So you can invite all of your team members in. You just send them an invite to their email. Once they're in, you can have default roles. So if you don't want your team members, like a general laborer or whatever you want to call them, to be able to delete things, then you can define your roles and just set the level of access that you want them to have into your account. You may not want certain team members to even be able to see your clients or be able to, see your leads or be able to see your invoices. So you just turn that off and it won't even show up on their menu. So it's like it doesn't even exist. But certain team members, you may want to be able to create an invoice, but you don't want them to be able to delete it. So, or you may want them to be able to see their own, but not other people's. So we give you full flexibility and control over what level of access each team member has. Okay.
Let me ask you real quick. You're talking about team members here. So to add your team members to this, is there a cost associated with that?
There is. So
okay.
We charge on a per user basis.
Okay.
There's 2 levels. There's 3 levels. There's free. Our free plan gives you access to send estimates and invoices and collect payments. Then we have Pro, and Pro gives you most of the features. Doesn't come with live map. It comes with scheduling. Doesn't come with live map. It doesn't come with mileage log. Doesn't come with some of the third-party integrations like Company Cam. We're adding other integrations here in the near future. For roofers, we're adding Roofer, Eagle View, Pitch Gauge. We're adding quite a few. We've got a whole list of integrations that are on the way. But so if you have 10 users, then that would be billable at Pro is $29 per user per month. Ultimate is $49 per user per month. And when you prepay annually, it's about 50% off, roughly. Oh, wow. So it's big savings to prepay annually. Of course, members of ACN gets the first seat of Ultimate actually on the house. So
cool.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the estimate here. I'm going to use the area and task itemized estimate. Now, keep in mind, we're consolidating our 2 main estimate types, the standard and the area and task itemized, into one drag and drop, fully customizable estimate that you can set up how you want. That's something that we're working on. I can show you what that looks like. You select a client or a lead, make sure their billing address is typed in. and you can give it a title if you want. If not, it'll just use the street or the service address as the title. 3149 here. Now you can break this down by area. Now areas are essentially groups. You could call it like foyer, kitchen, master bathroom, or it could be phases of a job like excavation, foundation, framing. You can set it up however you want. For now, we'll just, wow, I can't spell today. And say, something where you're not going to break it down by room like painting, you could just call it painting. Now you would add line items under each group. So I'll add a line item here. Now this box up here at the top pulls from what we call line item templates. In QuickBooks, it's called products and services. We call it line item templates, which can actually be accessed right here. And you can import these in from QuickBooks or from a CSV or Excel file. But basically what they're used for is anything that you bid on commonly. There's certain tasks and things that you do a lot. It's repetitive. There's no need to have to fill all this stuff out every time you bid on a job like that. Instead, you can just select from a template that's saved. Like in this case, it's painting. So I'll select this. Now, normally I may charge $75 an hour for painting, which if that was saved, that would have preloaded that. And then I could have just changed the number of hours or it is saved actually, the number of hours that I think that job is going to take. Some people charge by the square foot. You can actually add your own custom label if you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want. For this demonstration purposes, I'm just going to say I'm not going to give it a label or quantity. I'm just going to charge $6,000. You can attach photos. You can apply taxes to the labor, materials, or both, and you can have preset tax rates. And then you can add materials. So we have over 5 million material prices from Home Depot, Lowe's, Lumber Liquidators, Ace Hardware. We're working on Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams and ABC and a couple others. If you work with a local specialty supplier and you can get their product data feed, you can go to import data and import their product feed right into your account. So you have all of your parts and materials there for quick recall. Now we break it down. The labor is configured at the top. The materials are added at the bottom. If you just want to add a line item for materials only, then leave this as 0 at the top. You set this to no price, and then add your materials at the bottom and give it a title of materials. So it's you can customize it to work how you need it to. Now here would be your costs. Your customer is not going to see your costs for materials ever, because you're going to apply a COGS markup. A lot of contractors make the mistake of just handing their customer their materials receipts and letting them reimburse them for the materials. No, if you're going to the store and picking up materials, that's time. Time is money. Make sure you have margins there. So we set the default margin to 30%, which is automatically going to apply that 30% markup to whatever your costs are. We hit save here. Now notice it breaks down the labor and the materials separately. Now that does not mean you have to show your customers that on the front end. And I'll show you what I mean about that here in a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to talk about deposits and payment schedules. So say you want to require a deposit when your customer approves the estimate or upon a specific date. Say it's on when they approve an estimate, and we're going to require 25%. Now it's going to go ahead and calculate that deposit requirement. Now I'm going to see what's remaining in the balance so I can schedule the rest of the payments. Now, if I have line items pre-added, I could import those line items as milestones automatically. For now, I'll just say upon completion of painting, and I want to do $2,500. And then it shows me how much is left up here upon completion of entire job. And we've got 38.32% left. So you can do it as a percentage or a dollar. Now there's nothing left. I hit save. Now it's saved that schedule of payments and deposit requirement. Now, the reason that's important is because that's going to be appended to your client contract. So they're contractually bound to this deposit and payment schedule. You select your client agreement. You can have multiple agreement templates in your account for different types of jobs. For now, we'll just leave it at the default. And then you hit save. Now, I wanted to show you the breakdown on the way it looks on the client. So when you go to send via email or text message, it pre-writes the email based on your template. This is configurable, and I'll show you where you can do that. You can also attach a PDF copy if you want. You don't have to. You can send yourself a copy if you want, and it will pre-write this email for you based on what we call merge fields, and I'll show you how that works. Now, this is what your client's going to see when they open that estimate link. Now, keep in mind, we didn't add pictures. We didn't add a whole lot of line items or tasks. Notice I just have it breaking down the cost per area or per line item. Now, let's say I want to give them a little bit more insight. I want to show them how much the materials cost. I want to show them how much the labor costs. Then I can actually go down to estimate settings. So go to settings and estimate settings. And I can say I want to show the labor price totals and material price totals, and hit save. You can customize how you want this template to look based on this configuration in the global settings. Let's see here. So now if I refresh this page, you'll notice that it gives you a full breakdown of how the costs are calculated. So it adds a lot of columns there. And of course, you can see the payment schedule down here. Now, this is what's really cool. Your client reads it. They say, okay, I'd like to approve it. They accept and pay deposit. Now, they can't sign this agreement or check they agree to the terms until they actually read your contract. So they go through and read this contract, which is dynamically generated on the fly. You don't have to write it each time. We plug in the merge fields where they belong. At the bottom, you'll notice you got your deposit and schedule of payments. Now that I've read it, I can check that I've read it and I can sign it. This would be your client, by the way. They hit sign. Now we IP, time, and date stamp their signature. So it's legally bound. It's upheld in all 50 states. Now they can make a deposit payment. So whatever payment methods you accept will show up here. We have Contractor Plus payments configured. They can, with Contractor Plus payments, which is powered by JP Morgan Chase, they can link their bank account, pay a flat 1% for a bank transfer. We show them what the processing fees are. Now, either you can eat the processing fees or we recommend passing them on to your client. So we give you the ability to pass the processing fees on to the client. So they can pay with a credit card if they want, but they're going to see that here it's $49 if I pay with a credit card. But the importance there is when you start doing $3, $5, $10 million a year in revenue, those credit card fees start to add up. So you want to pass them on. You hit pay. Everything's pre-filled out for them. As much information as we have from them. If we had their zip, that'd be pre-filled as well for the billing. All they do is type their card number in and you're good to go. Here in the next few months, we're going to have card present as well. So we're going to ship out little Bluetooth card readers so you can just swipe your customers' cards, make things really convenient. Now, what's happening here is we're actually creating an invoice in the background automatically. So if I go to invoices, you're going to see that invoice. Because you don't make a payment against an estimate, you make a payment against an invoice. Now, let's say the client hands you a check. You can just go to more actions, record a payment, and that's the deposit amount right there. And I'll say they gave me a check. I can attach a picture of it if I want and hit save. Now this payment's going to show up here. I can even email my customer a copy of the receipt. It's going to show that it's partially paid, and you're going to see the balance. You're going to be able to track what's still remaining on this invoice. You can get notifications when an invoice is past due or when it's approaching. You can send automated reminders, and we'll get into all that. Now, let's say you're in the middle of a job and the client adds more work to the scope of the project. Now, some people, they just say, okay, I'll do it. It'll be an extra $500. That's not on the books. You want to use what's called a change order. So you create a change order, add it as a line item. Now that change order is going to get sent off and they're going to have to sign a change order agreement. It's going to add it as a new line item to the existing invoice for that job. But the important thing is they will be contractually bound to those changes. So you're fully protected. There's two ways to go about it. If it's a big addition, you could do a new estimate and send a separate invoice. If it's something, in the few $1,000 range, typically I would just do a change order. You would send it the same way. Just click send and choose how you want to send it. Okay. Now you can also generate a work order. So say your client pays it, you want to schedule the work, you can click schedule a job right from the invoice. So you can do everything you need to do right here from this menu. I know we're a little short on time, so I'm going to cover the main points here. I want to go to the settings and talk about the settings briefly. So here you would enter all of your company information. You add your business logo. You want to add a nice logo with a transparent background that's going to look good on your reports. You can add your social media links so it shows up. You can add your insurance, or you can get a quote from Next. That you can even attach your insurance to your reports. You can automate business reviews. So if you put your Google My Business link, we show you how to get it right here. Right here, you can choose when you want to, say 3 days after your client pays an invoice or after you've marked a job as completed, we can send an email or a text message or both to your client, inviting them to leave you a review on Google. More reviews, higher rankings, more leads that you don't have to pay for. Now, the templates that I told you about with merge fields, that's what I want to show you now. There's 3 things that are configurable: your email templates, your SMS templates, and your contracts. And they all work the same way. So if I go to email templates, that email template I showed you a little bit ago was the area and task itemized estimate. And this is what it looks like. Say you want to change the wording. When you send out an estimate, you don't want it to say this. You want to word it how you would talk to your customers. You just change it here globally, and all these fields available on the right are the merge fields. You can click anywhere in this template and insert one of these fields, and it will be generated dynamically on the fly, so you never have to write an email. Contracts work the same way, and text messages work the same way. While we're in the settings, we'll talk about the send from email. It's important you link your business email to the app so that when you're emailing your clients, they're getting your estimates and invoices and payment receipts and inspections and whatever else, on the way notifications. All the communication comes from your business email address that they can reply to. If it's a Google hosted email, then you can just select Gmail. If it's hosted anywhere else, then you can link it with SMTP. But the default system email would come from no reply at contractorplus.app. Time clock settings. If you want to track your employees' location, if you want to know where they're at while they're on the clock, then you can force the location. If you do this, they will not be able to clock in or clock out or use the app unless they share their location with you. But we give you control over whether or not you want to do that. Let's see here. Okay, so I mentioned previously the follow-ups. So in invoices, if you want to automate your follow-ups, you can send overdue reminders, and you can set the criteria or the threshold for when those are sent, and you can choose how those are sent, email or text message or both. You can be notified when it's time to collect the payment from a client. So if there's a payment that's, an upcoming payment that's due, you can choose the number of days that you want notified before that's, and who you want notified. So if you have an accountant or a bookkeeper that handles that stuff, they can be the one that gets that notification. So you're not out in the field seeing a bunch of notifications that's distracting you. And you can send scheduled payment reminders to the client as well. So all of these things can be automated. Any anything that you would put on all of your estimates or invoices, you can use the predefined client notes, like thanks for your business. We offer a veteran's discount, whatever. If it's something you would like to put on all of your bids, then you can add it as a predefined note. But it's important to go through the settings. There's a lot here. If you have questions about how an individual setting works, you can hover over the tooltip, which is the little question mark, and that explains what that individual feature does.
Hey, real quick.
Yep.
I know you have to pay for users using the app. Does that include for each employee you want to keep time for?
Yes.
Okay. So here's another question, maybe a little deeper. If you have, as the owner, an ultimate account, does every other user need an ultimate account as well, or can every other
Yes.
user be a basic?
No, every other use, well, basic is free. So every other user would be, so your account level is from top down. So you're gaining the features of Ultimate, which is live map, API, Zapier integration. So you can send data in and out of our platform to if you use other software. You're getting all the features that come with Ultimate, and all of your users or employees would have access to those features if you give them access to those features as well. So the account level is account wide, and you would pay per seat or per user under that account level.
Got it.
So we have, I'll show you the jobs. That's pretty important. Now, this is something else that we're working to add Gantt, full project management. But we already have attribution at the job level for everything from visits, tasks, your time logs, expenses, mileage logs, payments you've received against the invoices that are related to the job. You can generate an invoice from the job. So basically, you can do everything you need to do right here. You can also, of course, add line items here. Now, where we're going with this, with subcontract, it's coming with our subcontractor management and compliance platform. You're going to be able to take an estimate, the areas and line items of an estimate, and automatically create the tasks at the job level, which can then be delegated or assigned to individual team members or subcontractors. Now, subcontractor management and collaboration isn't live yet, but when it does go live, anybody who's not technically an employee, as an Ultimate user, you can invite to collaborate under your workspace or your company's account as a subcontractor. Because if they're not an employee, then they're self-employed. They work for themselves. So then they could create their own account for Contractor Plus, and they can collaborate with your business as a subcontractor, but they'll have very limited access, inside of your account. Basically, you can request estimates from them. You can request invoices from them. You can delegate line items or tasks to them, but it's pretty limited in that regard. Okay.
Again, if you guys have any questions that we're talking through this, we're talking some pretty in-depth stuff that most of you won't use right away, right? So this doesn't mean you guys need to get overwhelmed and go, I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to use everything. No, what you have to say is based off of where I'm at right now, how does this make my job easier, right?
Right.
That's what you need to start looking at. And then as you build out your team, you'll bring in people who will take a more focused approach in leveraging the full power of Contractor Plus.
That's right. Okay. So jobs is something you're going to notice it's continually improving. Like I said, we're adding Gantt view. We're adding an optional layer before the visits, which would be phases. So you can actually plan your entire project in phases. We're going to have templates from everything from a remodel to a home build to a multifamily construction site. So you can just import those templates and move them around. This is something that's definitely, it's come a long way, but it's got a long way to go. But everything you need on a per job basis is accessible right here under the job. So mileage logs. So if you track your mileage and you want to sync that to QuickBooks, or you need it for payroll, you can either add it manually if you have permission to do that, if you have permission to add a manual entry, or you can jump in your work truck, open up the app and hit start trip. and then take off driving. It's going to track your location. And when you get to where you're going, you hit end trip and the mileage is automatically logged. Now, notice I said if you have permission to add a manual entry. Some people, you may not want to be able to add something manually. You may only want them to be able to tap the clock in or tap the clock out or tap the start trip and end trip. You get to choose who's able to do what. Post inspections, this is something that's going to eventually change to inspections because there's actually a pre-inspection and a post-inspection in construction. We built this tool internally with Handyman Estimator because we were servicing properties for people that never step foot inside of their properties. So we wanted to give them a greater level of transparency, which, is where they could see the before and after photos on a per line item basis. So if you take before photos on a per line item basis using the area and task itemized estimate, then you can go behind your workers and take after photos on a per line item basis and show what the job looks like before and after. Now, this is a good idea, especially if you're, getting contracts from property managers, but also you can use it as sales lever in the future. You can use it to demonstrate the quality of your work. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about this. I won't go too much into it, but we have built out a full Bluetooth asset management platform. These are what they look like, if everyone can see my camera. They have a little QR code on it. They're rivetable. They have a 3-year battery life, and they're about $10 a piece. We're waiting on an order right now. But basically, you can add anything from a skid steer to a toolbox full of tools. Whatever you need to track. If you have employees or subcontractors that are using your tools and equipment and you want to know who had what, you add it into the system here and it has a date and time stamped log. So you're treating your assets just like books in a library. Pretty straightforward. We're also adding Avery templates. So if you don't want to use the Bluetooth technology, you can just print off QR codes, scan in, scan out. Shopping list is straightforward. On the mobile app, it's just a list of materials you need from a job. You can import the list from an estimate or an invoice or a job. And you just, when you go to the store, you open it up and you just check it off as you get it. So you make sure you don't forget anything. Now I'll jump back into the settings real fast and talk about payments here. So we integrate with Square, Stripe, Authorize.net, PayPal. We're also adding WorldPay. And you can also add payment methods like Cash App and Venmo. You can just put your cash tag here or your Venmo. If you want to use Zelle, you can just type Zelle and put your payment instructions. There's no direct integration there. So on your invoices, your client will see all of those options, and they can pay right from your invoice. By default, we start everyone who signs up with Contractor Plus payments with a weekly transaction volume limit of $15,000. If you need to increase that, you can submit your processing statements or bank statements right here and request the increase. And based on your history and your volume, Chase Bank will make a decision on where to place you. That's a pretty rough overview of what we've got now. I do want to show you one more thing, which is the new dashboard. So our new dashboard that's in development right now is going to be, this is what it looks like currently, which is a snapshot of your account, but it's not actionable, right? Aside from the to-do items. So we wanted to make this, regardless if you're pulling up your phone or tablet or on web, we wanted to make this first screen you see right when you log in super actionable. So this is what the new dashboard is going to look like. And you can choose which modules go there. You can sort here. Notice current actionable items, types of notifications that you may want to receive when a certain event takes place at a job site, or your employee clocks out outside of the geo fence. So they're not within range of the job site when they clock in or whatever. And then we have a list of actions that you may want to take after that event takes place. So you can take action. It's very actionable right here on the main dashboard. And I can kind of give you an idea of action items. or maybe not. There we go. So this is the list of items we've got, and we're continually adding to it. When any of these events take place, this is the event. This is the message you're going to see, and these are the responses that you may need to take after that event happens. So you're going to notice Contractor Plus. Ideally, it's your phone system, it's your CRM, all of your client relationships, all of your vendor relationships, your subs. They're everything in one place. So it's really like an operating system for contractors.
I love it.
So I think we should just open it up for questions now.
Yeah. So first of all, guys, think about all the things that Contractor Plus can do, and it gets a little bit overwhelming, right? Totally get it. But you got to think of what can it do for me right now, right? What can it take off my plate? What can it make easier? What can it help me remember, right? That's the purpose of really Contractor Plus. As it continues to grow, it will literally do everything for you. You will literally log in here and it'll do everything business related, right? And so that's really why we partner with Contractor Plus. Is you're going to get the educational piece, the framework piece, the understanding of what you need and how to do it inside of the American Contractor Network. But the actual brass tacks, let's put the rubber to the road, let's make this thing happen, that's going to happen through Contractor Plus, right? It's going to be the easiest way, I should say, to make it happen is through Contractor Plus. So just look at this and say, okay, what is the version that I need right now that's going to help me get things done quicker, faster, more efficiently? And then let me just focus on learning that and becoming really good at that. And you'll notice how you start to bring in more business, you have more satisfied customers, so on and so forth, things start to grow, and then you can continue to add pieces to this. So one of the questions that came in is, how long has Contractor Plus been around?
We launched our beta in 2020. Our minimum viable product was December of 2020, I would say. By my terms, we barely just now have the MVP, but I'm never happy. I always see the future, 3 years into the future. But
yeah. So think about this. Since 2020, Contractor Plus has been around, and they have 20,000 users.
22,000.
22,000, excuse me.
Yeah.
22,000 users, right? So think about that, right? You're not going to be the only one using this. This thing isn't going anywhere, right? So on and so forth. It's continuing to grow and add more capabilities to help make your contracting jobs easier. So again, if you have any more questions, you got a couple more minutes to drop them in the chat. I will answer them. But go ahead, Justin, you were going to show something else.
I don't know that it was.
Okay.
I was going to mention we have a company cam integration. Right now, a big thing that we're focused on, aside from building out our CRM and our new dashboard, is integrations. So, if you work with, Eagle View, Pitch Gauge, Company Cam, we've already got the Company Cam integration live. We've got a Thumbtack integration. We're adding an Angie integration. We are also working on Google My Business optimization and syndication, and we're adding a bunch of stuff that just helps you get more customers on autopilot. We actually just acquired contractorplus.com, which is going to be a directory of contractors, so you'll get a free listing on contractorplus.com as well. And any leads that come through that listing are free. We're not going to charge for them. So pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Well, if there's no other questions, again, Justin, I appreciate you making the time to share what Contractor Plus is and how it is that it can benefit really any type of contractor, whether you're a builder, remodeler, or you're in one of the trades, it doesn't matter. Contractor Plus will help you simplify and scale your contracting business.
That's it. If anybody does have questions when you get in here and you start setting up everything, just reach out. We do daily live demos, and we also have customer service office hours. So if it's something where you just need to show up and ask a few questions, you can show up at any time during office hours and ask away. We're here to help.
So first of all, where would they go to find out about office hours, and how would they get a hold of you?
Right inside the app. If you scroll down on the mobile app, you scroll all the way down at the very bottom, there's a button there for customer service. It'll open up a Calendly link where you can choose live demo or office hours. So you can pick which one you want there.
Cool. So straight from the app, you guys can get all the help that you need.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks again, Justin. And I appreciate all of you guys being on the call. If you have any more questions, again, reach out to me, reach out to Justin, CEO at contractorplus.app, and we'll make sure to get those answered. But for now, more than anything, guys, I'm telling you, this is the app that is going to help you simplify and scale your business. So if you don't have it yet, go get it. I'll drop the link inside of all of our groups, so you'll be able to get a hold of that. And then Justin just dropped the support email, hello@contractorplus.app. So you can go there again to get any questions answered. But if there's nothing else, appreciate you guys showing up. Justin, thanks again for making the time.
You're welcome.
And, we'll see you guys on the next one.